So tomorrow I'm hauling my XP 1000S up to some trails in northern Wisconsin, or I guess actually not trails, but old logging roads since the trails aren't open yet. There's still quite a bit of snow in the woods up there, I think, so I decided that I should probably replace this winch cable that has definitely seen better days here. So to replace that, I've got a couple things that Rocky Mountain ATV sent me, so big thanks to them for sending this stuff out. There'll be links for this stuff down in the description. We've got the Tusk hook. We've got the little winch cable stopper deal here. And then we've got the Tusk synthetic 50-foot winch cable here. Looks like we got the shrink wrapped end, so that should make things a little bit easier to install. The opposite end here, of course, comes with the, I'm sure there's a name for this, but basically they kind of braid it through itself. And that makes a really nice loop on the end here for you. So we got the old winch cable pull out of here. First thing we'll have to do is flip this over to free spool. There was not much left in there. So what do we got going on in there? I guess we're just gonna have to take this guy off to see. So it looks like that was just kind of looped around in there a couple times. I swear I saw it not, but I guess there wasn't. So I'm just gotta fish this on through here. It does take a little bit of finesse to get it in there. If I spin this back towards us a bit, there's the heat shrink sticking out the top, so I'll just grab that with the pliers. You kind of feed it and jiggle as you go. Makes it a little bit easier. So when this winch spools in, it's gonna be going from the top back like that. So I'm gonna suck it in until the point that I can see where I put that line in there. That's where it came out. So I'm gonna take my end here, and I'm gonna stick that back behind the looped part of the line. So there you can kind of see what we've got going on here. So this is the end of the line here that is looped through this portion that is where I stuck it in, and then where it came out there, and then I'm gonna cross this across the spindle like that. Pulling on this end here to get that tight. That kind of makes almost a knot in there where that crosses it. This is gonna get spooled kind of across the length of this. I think this should work for most winches if you're gonna be using a synthetic cable. And I would say this is definitely the way to go. I've had the metal style on my other four-wheeler, and I will not miss that at all. I'm actually kind of looking forward to the first time that I have to retie this on, because I won't have to get the tools out to do it. I'll literally just be able to retie this on here and be done with it. Won't be sticking my hands with metal spikes. So I'm gonna measure across to see where that hits the end of the spool. Trim that off. Nice dull knife. So I'm gonna flip this back, grab a tight hold of this, and now when you go to do this, you'll want to fire the four-wheeler up. You don't want to drain your battery down by doing this, but just for demonstrational purposes, we'll pull a little bit in here, and as I pull in, I'm gonna slowly watch and then work my way across to the other side. You should probably be able to see what I'm doing. And of course, you want to be very cautious. Don't ever let your hand get sucked into one of these. That would not be good for you. Watching through the top so I can screw it on nice, holding it tight. Take it to the other side. Let's work my way back over. Probably a little bit hard to see through the camera, but I've been kind of peeking through here. You can kind of see it getting spooled on. That way you know you're not overlapping or going too fast. And you want to make sure that you are pulling this stuff tight. If you end up with a bunch of loose threads in there when you go to pull this out and then try to suck it back in, it's gonna mash the new line down in between the old stuff. And then you're gonna have a big old bird's nest in there, which is not fun. I've done that before with a metal cable, and I think this cable might be a little bit easier to do that. I think it might also be a little bit easier to pull out. I guess we'll see. But definitely something you want to keep an eye on, and you definitely want to get this right the first time and not have to go through and back and try to clean it all up later. So I'm going to fire this thing up, and then I will just continue to kind of work my way back and forth across so I get a nice pattern like that all the way to the end. think we're getting a little bit close to full there, but I think we're not past the top of the spool, so I think we'll be okay. I was kind of wondering if 50 feet was going to be a little bit too much. That guys off, let me know. Would you cut some of that off? If you did have to do that, of course you wouldn't want to cut this end off. You could just pull it back out to the point that you could see the pigtail, fish some more through, and snip it off on that end. So of course we can't forget this part now. I did kind of contemplate putting on just one of the aluminum hosses instead. You guys let me know what you prefer down in the comment box. I think we'll just go with this since it's already here and I don't have to pay anything for it. If you would have had a metal cable on these at all before, then you definitely want to switch this out because that metal cable will eat this all up, and then in turn those will eat this up. So my quad anyways, this is held on by some carriage bolts, which is why I've got the square opening there. Basically the back side of this just has a flat head on it, and it just gets held in place when you pull it forward by sitting inside of that square hole, since it's got kind of a mating surface on the back side. So I just got to reach around back here, push that through, tighten it down. So we're almost done here. We've just got to take the rubber stopper and feed that on. So what this is going to do basically is save you from mashing the metal parts here into the rollers and smashing those all up. Some of these clamp down. This one just kind of is going to freewheel on here. So for this part, you guys let me know what you prefer. I'm going to try to stick one of these guys in here. I think that way my line should be kind of protected from getting pinched inside of these holes when this thing's spinning around in there. We'll see how this does for me. And now to try to keep this together, I think what I'm going to do is, for one thing, shove that clip into the slot. I think that should kind of help, and that'll kind of happen anyways once we suck this in tight. But I think what I'll do is maybe stick a big zip tie on the back side of this, and hopefully that'll kind of keep this from sliding around. Maybe even a couple zip ties. Actually, you know what? I bet that one on its own stuffed in there is probably going to be enough to keep that in place. Anybody see an issue with that? I think I might actually clip this one off. So there we are. This is going to keep this in place. It's not going to be bouncing off of these, scratching them all up. This guy, you want to hang on to when you get towards the end there, because if you have your hand on this side of it, you're definitely risking pinching yourself in there. And you do not want to do that. That would be massively painful. So always be careful when you're working around your winch. Your fingers are very important, and you don't want them on the south side of that stopper there. So like I said earlier, guys, if you want to make sure you see more videos with the XP1000S, make sure you click that subscribe button, click the bell after you subscribe, and let you know anytime I put a video out that way. I cannot wait to get this thing out and explore some trails tomorrow. That video should be coming out in the next couple weeks here, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Other than that, guys, take care, stay safe, stay swanky, get out, enjoy this beautiful world for yourself. And if you can't, here's some videos to check out in the meantime.